Welcome to Last in Line podcast, where we are highlighting, showcasing, and spotlighting great leaders of faith who have overcome adversity, cultivated resilience, and served others in a significant capacity. So settle in and be encouraged by this episode of Last in Line podcast. Hey, gentlemen, I got to tell you, I'm not the best at this when it comes to what we're talking about tonight. I'm not the model of perfection for developing and cultivating true friendship. I have quite a bit of acquaintances. I have a good handful or so of what I consider good friends, but I don't know if I'm actually great at doing what I'm about to talk to you about, which helps me. So I hope it helps you. I've got some points tonight about friendship that I think stand out to me to be those hinge points for getting over that hump. I'm very good at surface level. I'm very good at connection. I'm very good at talking to strangers. I'm very good at just socially being relational, conversation, servant leadership, servant connection. I'm good at those things. I am in need of more skill when it comes to intentionally valuing the time and investment that it takes to maintain those and solidify those and build those friendships to where they flourish and prosper and grow in a healthy direction. I am calling this tonight A for effort. You've heard the expression A for effort, right? So you get an A because you tried really hard. Well, in this case, A for effort. I've got 3 A's for you, 3 ROIs, some return on investment of intentional friendship, and they all start with A. So that's where we're going. Why waver? Why break precedent of the alliteration and the A, the letters, the correlation of theme that I typically construct an outline by, and that's just who I am. So chalk it up to, you can say, you know, a guy who's pretty nerdy when it comes to this kind of thing. And it seems like I'm always pointing it out, doesn't it? Which makes me even nerdier. And nerdier is a word. Look it up. Google it on up, as I always say. A for effort tonight. So I got 3 A's for you for intentional friendship, but I got 4 scripture for you. I'd be doing you a disservice if I did not incorporate the Word of God. And all of you hopefully appreciate it to listen to this. So the first one I've got around friendship, you can probably guess the 4, and I know you can guess 1 or 2, but I've got 4, and there's probably a lot. I'll give you the one first that you already know. Proverbs 27:17. Iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens the countenance of his friend, in some versions. As iron sharpens iron, one man sharpens another. Could be another version. So second verse is Ecclesiastes 4:10. I like this one. For if they fall, one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him, or sucks to be you, in my version of the Bible, sucks to be you who is alone when he falls and has not another to lift him up. Ecclesiastes 4:12. That's a good book for friendship. Ecclesiastes 4. Okay, good chapter. But here we go. 4:12. A person standing alone can be attacked and defeated, but 2 can stand back to back and conquer. 3 are even better, for a triple-braided cord is not easily broken. Or other versions will say a band of 3 cords is not easily broken. So that's a good one, because that just reinforces the point of 2 are better than 1, 3 are better than 2, right? If you can get a group, if you can get like-minded people, if you can get group-sourced wisdom, if you can get iron sharpening iron in more ways than one, right? more ways than two in this case. You're better off. And the last one in John 15:13, greater love has no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. So I don't know. Lay down my life for my friends. I don't know if I've got a couple of those. I don't know that I've got a ton of those, and maybe we're not supposed to have 10 or 12 of those. If you do, man, great on you. But I probably have 2 or 3 that I could say that about, that I would lay down my life for. And if you're listening to this and you and I become friends, and maybe we're a year or 2 into this friendship, I'll get there. Maybe I and mutually, I expect mutual in return, that maybe you're not there with me yet to lay your life down. I get that. Hey, I don't hold any grudges on that, man. No harm there, no foul. So the 3 A's for tonight. We're going to get an A for effort. I know in a world of participation trophies, this will fit right in, right? This will jump right into the fold of the cultural narrative of everybody gets a trophy, but we're not doing that. This is A for effort, just as an expression. We're using that. So 3 A's for your effort of intentional friendship. So it takes effort. Friendship does not happen automatic. Connection might happen accidentally, happenstancely, if that's a thing. You might meet somebody who introduces you, and great, you made a connection. Great. Check the box. Add them to your little black book of connections. But true friendships take effort. True friendships take intentionality. You can join, I know, these masterminds and these councils of brotherhood. I love it. I mean, those things, you can absolutely develop solid, meaningful, long-standing relationships and friendships. Not always, but yeah, you can. But you know what all of those have in common is that the people involved that see the most benefit and return on that investment is their intentional mindset, and they are putting forth sacrifice, putting forth effort, commitment, discipline, focus. They place importance on those relationships, which allow them to grow. Just like if you're gardening, you cannot just put a seed in the ground and leave it and hope you get a full crop of tomatoes or squash. You can't just hope it happens. You've got to till the soil, toil the ground. You've got to fertilize, water, weed, get all the bad out, put all the good in. You've got to give it the attention it deserves in order to reap a harvest. Same with relationships, specifically friendships tonight. So yeah, here we go. Start your engines. I've got 3 A's for you. The first one we're going to do is alignment. Alignment. And there's a reason this is first. Because if you cannot get with a person aligning your mindset, your goals, maybe not goals, your viewpoints, your Christian worldview, if you're not like-minded spiritually, if your viewpoint on standards and principles waver quite a bit, if there's a chasm between those that's really noticeable and significant, chances are you're not aligned, and chances are that friendship will stifle, will be limited. It will peak early, if it peaks at all, and it won't sustain if you're not aligned spiritually, mentally, right? Sometimes physically. I don't know that I am 100% relating to guys who are significantly on the opposite end of the physically fit spectrum as I am. And I'm nowhere near what I should or could be. I'm better than some my age, probably most my age that I know. I'm better for sure in shape, but I could be better. There's a lot of guys stronger and more fit than me. But I don't see myself gravitating toward people who are on the opposite, antithetical end of the spectrum of physical strength and capability as I am. I don't know what that is. Maybe that makes me shallow and superficial. Maybe that makes me narrow-minded, closed-minded. Maybe I'm missing out on one of the best friends I could ever have because of that. I don't know that. I'm not intentionally avoiding people. I just don't gravitate to those who are in that camp. I'm in another camp. I'm in a camp of guys who feel like that's important, that they have to be capable physically, that they never know when they might need it, that they're valuable whenever something heavy needs moved, or when some issue arises where intervention physically, a situation might get kinetic and somebody needs to step in. Like, I feel like those people are valuable to have around, and I want to be that guy. So our outlook, if we're talking about mindset and alignment, this is your first A, alignment. If I'm aligned with people on how they view marriage, how they view parenting, how they view relationship, connection, standards that they've set for themselves and their family, the legacy they want to leave. If those are aligned, chances are you set yourself up nicely for friendship, true friendship, long-standing friendship. Chances are you connect with those people. You have a lot in common. You have things to talk about. You have ways you can relate. Those matter. That stuff matters. If you're aligned with that person, chances are you're setting yourself up for success to have a relationship and a friendship. Now, that doesn't mean you have to be around each other 24/7 or even weekly. Doesn't mean you necessarily have to call each other multiple times a week. That's nice if you can check in once a week, maybe text or phone call. If you can have coffee with them a couple times a month, that's nice. That's ideal. Maybe you go shoot. Maybe you go work out. You go for a run. That's not me, but maybe there's guys that think running is beneficial. Still don't know how that's going to help me if I need you if I'm getting jumped by 3 guys. The fact that you can run a marathon, I don't know how that helps me, but maybe it does. I got to take a shot at my runners out there. I love you. I'm just jealous, I think. Just jealous I can't run like you can. But physically capable, I prefer somebody that can, squat, bench press, deadlift, significant amount of heavy stuff if I'm being physically overtaken by opposition. That's alignment. You got to be aligned, in my opinion. Look, I'm not a therapist. I'm not a professional counselor. I don't have a medical doctorate. But I will say, in my 51 short years on this earth, and had some friendships, Peter had some friendships flourish. I will say, if you're not aligned in these ways, chances are slim that you will become long-term friends. The second A for effort. Okay, you're putting some effort in because commitment and intentionality matter in real, true, long-standing friendships. Second A is accountability. Nobody likes that word. Accountability puts me on edge, right? It puts me on the defensive. It makes me feel a little anxious and insecure, maybe a little looking over my shoulder, feeling like somebody's babysitting me. I don't need a micromanaging friend. I don't need a helicopter friend pointing out all the areas I need to be better. That's not what accountability is. And by the way, it's a bi-directional benefit, accountability. A lot of these are bi-directional, of course, or it wouldn't be a friendship. It's got to be a two-way street. It's got to get, mutually beneficial for both of you. But accountability gives you mutual permission. Okay. I've told you, you've told me, if you see anything, blind spot brotherhood, as I call it, if you see anything about my habits, my actions, my behaviors, my words, the people I hang out with, if you see anything that looks sketchy or it looks like it directly is in opposition of God's word, God's standard, biblical truth, what we consider, since I just said we were aligned, what we both consider as our standard. If there's anything that I'm outside the lines on, you've got permission. I've got permission to call you out and call you up, to bring it to your attention, to speak truth in love, to not worry about hurting feelings. We've given each other mutual permission and a hall pass to step into that world and to call it out and to speak life and truth. That's what friendship does. If you're not in on that, then you're not a true friend. If you want all these contingencies about friendship and I want all this other good stuff, but this accountability, I don't think I want, then you're not in for the long haul. You're not in it to win it. You're not mutually beneficial to that other person either. But it's ultimately, look, if you're not honest about that, then let's get honest about this. You're not helping yourself ultimately. If you don't want somebody calling you out or seeing your blind spots or noticing this, dump truck coming right at your head around the corner that you can't see, this pothole in the front of you because you're too busy surfing porn, or you're spending your money at the track or gambling on something, and you can't pay the electric bill. Like, you don't see the potholes in front of you and you don't have somebody to call that out. You're losing. Ultimately, you're the one going to be hurt. Yeah, you don't want to hear it right now, but ultimately it's going to cost you. So I would rather it cost me now in an uncomfortable conversation than it cost me my marriage, or it cost me my house or my job or my kids. The trust that has to be built and earned for that to work nice is going to take time. That accountability doesn't happen overnight, or then it really becomes a babysitting. True accountability can't happen in the first once or twice you meet and maybe go hit a golf ball together. That doesn't count. You don't have a mutual pass. The door hasn't been open for you to just speak into my life because we were hanging out one time. Over time, that trust is earned. If I don't trust you, you don't have that hall pass, vice versa. So we got to earn that trust. Okay. We got to prove ourselves worthy of the trust. And then we got to be trustworthy, and we've got to be willing to open the door and grant that to someone else. But it's all about truth and love. It's all about trust earned. It's all about, we can't worry about whether we're going to hurt each other's feelings. Yeah, there's some tact. There's some diplomacy. There's maybe not so much diplomacy, maybe some tact, very little, but I want somebody speaking truth. I want somebody just coming right at me, not in a harsh or mean way. Like it says, truth in love, not truth in being a jack about it. Don't be a jerk face about it, but for the sake of being mean. But again, if you're holding somebody accountable and they push back and make excuses and tell you you're off base, then you can be like, look, we've been friends too long for me to let this happen to you. And then you might have to get uncomfortable. But those times are worth it in the long run. That's why I said sacrifice is one of the words that's involved in this. Commitment, intentionality, sacrifice, discipline. You got to be true to it. We've got to be faithful to the process. We got to be faithful to that journey with that person, because it's worthwhile. And the Bible, when we had those scriptures earlier, it doesn't say unless it gets uncomfortable or awkward or hard to hear. It doesn't say iron sharpens iron unless the guy has hurt feelings. So ultimately, like it says in Ecclesiastes 4:12, like I said, this is one of my favorites, but I said it earlier, a person standing alone can be attacked and defeated, but two can stand back to back and conquer. Three are even better, for a triple-braided cord is not easily broken. Look, there's a cost to having that kind of strength. A triple-braided cord is not easily broken, right? You can stand back to back and conquer if it's two of you. So in order to have that, there's got to be a cost. Nothing's free. The cost is you're opening the door for someone else to hold you accountable. That's the second A. Okay, with the first one's, like I said, A for effort tonight. A, 3 A's. First one's alignment. Second one's accountability. Nobody likes that word, but maybe I put it in a different light for you today, that you can maybe start feeling like you can get a little closer to that word and be comfortable. Accountability. Say it. Say it out loud. It won't hurt you. Accountability. Okay. It's healthy. It's good. It's going to be productive in the long run for that relationship. Second or third one, and the last one. The last day is accessibility. Don't judge me that I'm drinking coffee at 3:30 in the afternoon. Accessibility. So when we make an investment in each other as men for friendship, we grant access to that other person to a few things that could really enhance their lives, even could potentially affect their lineage downstream, their heritage, their family tree could be benefited because of the knowledge I possess. It could potentially help that person that's my friend now that we've invested in each other. There's a bi-directional network building. There's other friend group connections. So we can tap into resources that person already has established and has benefited from. We can have mutual acquaintances, mutual friends. His friends can become my friends. Those connections can lead to other connections. That network can grow because of the friendship that I've developed with that person. It expands, right? There's a ripple effect. That can benefit you in business. That can benefit you spiritually. That can benefit you in a knowledge of something. You know, if I know this guy and he knows a guy that can come and fix my hot water tank, then I start learning about hot water tanks because of this guy. But it all started with that friendship that I allowed to root in trust and accountability and alignment with that other person, time, investment, intentional effort. That led to me getting to know this other person. I've got countless examples of that in my life. I'm sure you do too, but that's how a friend becomes a friend of a friend of a friend. And then those things grow. And then all of a sudden you've got this army of guys, this band of brothers that you can count on for different things. Okay. But it all starts with alignment. It all goes to accountability. And then it's accessibility. You've granted access to that person, to your network, your friend group. It's bi-directional. There's a mutual benefit there. You can, and if you and I become that true friend long-term, the things you know, I will soon know, and vice versa. I can benefit from your wisdom. You're a subject matter expert in X. I can then learn from you, vice versa. Those things are mutually inclusive. We can do those together. So I benefit from your knowledge, you benefit from mine. The wisdom I've had from experiences, we can learn from each other. As a parent, okay, we already know we're aligned. We already know we're like-minded spiritually from a marriage and parenthood standpoint. But if I've been a parent and been married longer than you and done a few things wrong and maybe some things right, there are things you haven't experienced yet that I have that I can share, that you can benefit from. Friendship, like I know I'm breaking friendship down pretty elementarily to you, things that you already know about friendship, or else why would you want a friend if you didn't have these things? But I don't think we have enough guys that are out committing to the intentional investment required of a friendship. I'm one of those people who could be better at it. There's a return on that investment. Okay. You get an A for effort. You get these 3 A's when you're making the effort. You get the alignment. You get the accountability. You get the accessibility. We've learned from each other. And then downstream, you've shown your children how to build friendships, why they're important, what's required, what cost and sacrifice that it takes. But the payoff and the return is huge, right? Accessibility is big. I've got friends who have introduced me to other people. I mean, the podcast is a prime example, and I always use that as an example, but you might be able to relate because you're listening to a podcast, so it's probably relatable to you. But I've gotten to meet people who have introduced me to other people who have come on the show, and then down the line it goes. Then I've introduced certain people to other people. And so you make connections. You make the investment to bless and serve other people. You connect people who you think can benefit each other. And that comes back to you. Sowing and reaping, it comes back to you. So we grant accessibility and access to our friends, to our experiences, to our wisdom, to other connections, to the network. That's how we build our network. Because you've proven yourself trustworthy, reliable, You've proven to be servant minded. You're a faith Christian worldview guy. Principles, standards, values, morals are all in line and intact. And you've opened yourself up to build new healthy relationships because of the ones you've already committed to and invested in. So that's where we're going to get tonight. That's where we are. Friendships are huge. You don't need 100 of them that fall into this category. It'd be great, but the time it takes and the sacrifice, I don't know that we all have the bandwidth to have 100 of these kind of friends. But if you've got 5, great. 10 is superb, and I don't know how you get 10 of these. But if I could get 5 of these, I think I'd be super ecstatic. Like I said, I got 2 or 3 maybe, but it all depends on my willingness and my ability and my action to not let those relationships die. To the point of the garden earlier, I can't just water it a few times and turn my back on it and expect to get this huge harvest. I've got to maintain it. It's a long-term deal. I can't just expect a little bit of sacrifice, a little cost. Minimal cost yields minimal harvest, minimal benefit. So it's got to be a long-term commitment and investment to other people that you've established the criteria of your alignment, willingness to hold each other accountable, and the access that you will get and give mutually to each other. So I hope this helps you. I hope this allows you to grow your existing friendships and then pursue new ones where you can start this process, right? Every year, the garden, we plant a new harvest. We plant a new crop. Some are perennials. Some of those things just keep giving back. Some we got to invest in brand new. And the same goes with relationships. I hope that helped. Gentlemen, with that, be blessed.